Of the British Superbike Championship in 2026. It's time for the first heat of the Rocket Off BMW F900R Cup here at BrandsHatch. And here is how your grid lines up. Nicky Coates, Bobby Vary and Josh Corner is your front row. Dale Thomas, Jack Tynan and then James Ellison on the second row. Then you've got Kenny McLeod, James Dutton and Rhys Coates on row 3 with Lee Devonport heading row 4, Liam Vella and James Seath alongside the fifth row. Simon Bastable with Jordan Ashington and Jim Lee. And then it's Alex Pearson, Danny Cartwright and Nick Heath on row 6. Row 7 and the final row of the grid is comprised of Leon Wilton, Jason Pays and then Giovanni Belliossi. So, 21 riders ready to take to the grid for this one here, Danny Buchan. They're just making their way around the final corner and lining up. F900R Cup has been a really interesting affair so far in 2026. The upshot is it's Kieran Smith leading his brother Christian Smith, neither of whom are out in this race, but a good chance for Nicky Coates to get a good position in this one and therefore subsequently a good place on the grid for the main event tomorrow. Yes,
Tom, exactly that. And if this is anything to go by from, you know, Snetterton was amazing. The two heat races there were super close. The racing was very good from the top four in each of those classes, and it made a really exciting main event.
Absolutely. There is Nicky Coates lining himself up on pole position. Bobby Vary and Josh Corner alongside on that front row of the grid. Green flag then is waved at the back. It's 8 laps of action ready to go for the first heat for the Rocket Off BMW F900R Cup. It's all eyes on the lights as the red lights come on. Lights around or underway. Short hold for them. Great start from Nicky Coates off the front row then. Nice one as well from Josh Corner as he drags alongside Bobby Vary down to turn 1. He's going to have the inside line and may be able to get second place away from the number 88. He's got the inside line there but wasn't quite able to make it stick, and ultimately then comes under pressure from Jack Tynan, who's through as well. It gets a bit close for comfort as they head in towards Druids for the first time, but at the front of it it's Nicky Coates who still leads as they're sorting themselves out on the run down into Graham Hill.
Yeah, Josh Corner got a really good launch off the line, but just didn't seem to let the clutch go. And Bobby Vary then was just there, you know, on the inside into Paddock Hill. But Nicky Coates doing exactly what he wants to do: get himself out front, stay out of trouble, clip those laps by, and really get that bike set up ready for the main event.
If you're new to the F900R Cup, top 13 riders from both Heat 1 and Heat 2, which is along the way straight after this, will go through into the main event tomorrow. Then we'll have the last chance qualifier in the morning, which is for riders who finish from P14 down in both heats, and they'll be competing to make a 40-rider strong field here for the main event in the afternoon.
Bobby Vary there into the lead now, Tom, and Nicky Coates. There's a big group there, you know. 6 of them out front and starting to get a little bit of a gap there from 6th place onwards.
Yeah, having a good run so far is Bobby Vary of things this season. A couple of heat wins to his name, one at one at Donington rather, one at Snetterton. 2 5th places in main event races in the last 2 rounds as well. The only blot on his copybook really was at Donington, where he failed to take to the start of that race. Ran the number 59 last season, has changed over to the 88 for this year, but only competed in a few rounds last year. So as you can see now, leading the way quite commandingly, with Josh Corner bringing up the rear of this trio and looking to try and challenge against the Ulsterman Nicky Coates down in towards turn 1. Up the inside he goes into Paddock Hill, and he's got second place. Yeah,
lovely move there by Josh Corner, and I was fortunate enough to spend the day with him Thursday, and the Smith twins actually, at the BMW Motorrad Academy, and yeah, it was really funny. Josh was just like, I just want to get going, I just want to get here and get some race wins under my belt, and he's had a lot of pace this year but just unable to get those main event wins.
Yeah, Kenny McLeod just out a little bit wide there at Druids, managed to gather it all up okay, but lost a couple of bike lengths there over the number 93 of Dale Thomas. Keep an eye on that one and see how it develops, as those gaps will probably ebb and flow over the course of this race. But Nicky Coates there sitting in second place, went down and caught up with him actually prior to the start of this one, and he's full of confidence. If you don't know the story of how his season's unfolded, he looks to go underneath Josh Corner, can't quite do it there at the bottom of Pilgrim's Drop and into Hawthorns. But essentially he was disqualified from a round earlier on this season due to the engine producing too much power. They're sealed units from BMW, but they had it on a dyno after the event, and it was producing too much power. As such, he was disqualified. For Snetterton, he was lent a bike by BMW whilst they figured some things out with his own bike. That's why he didn't perform so well last time out. However, this weekend here at BrandsHatch, back on his old bike, said they've stuck some thicker oil on it, which has brought the horsepower down a little bit, and he's back there fighting on a machine that he's now familiar with.
Yeah, it's a funny one, and when you've got these championships with the rules so tight, the sealed, you know, the sealed kits and bits and pieces like that, you know, sometimes bikes do produce a little bit more power. So I'd like to do a little bit more digging into that myself, but you know, because you hear various different things going on, and But you know, it's the championships, has to keep things tight, has to keep things even for everybody, especially in these classes.
Some good battles going on up and down the field here in the Rocket Off BMW F900R Cup. Just a reminder, of course, top 3 riders that will go through. At the moment, the one on the bubble is Lee Devonport on the number 21, who sits in 13th place. He's got a couple of tenths of a second over the number 9 of Jordan Ashington. Ashington has made the main event in all 3 rounds so far this year, so needs to do a bit more work to progress his way into those top 13 places at the moment to get an automatic qualifying spot. Down Pilgrim's Drop we go. Bobby Berry, fastest man last time around, 135.2 relative to a 135.3 and 35.4 for corner and coach respectively.
Bobby Berry's doing a really good job here. Just looks good on the bike, looks comfortable, he's fast.
Yeah, he's had a good run of things so far this weekend as Bobby Berry. As we say, saw him out last year. He's had a distinguished career in other championships, racing at sort of club level. Moved up here to this national championship now, and is great to see him fighting up the sharp end of the field. The regulations actually for the F900R Cup were changed going into this year, as we see a move being made there for, I think, the 6th place between McLeod and Thomas going through into the left-hander of Sterling's. But yeah, the regulations have changed. Essentially, you can no longer run a bike that's older than 2025. So 2025 and, of course, now the new 2026 bikes are all that is allowed here. So it just keeps, obviously, performance levels a little bit closer, relatively speaking. If you're running an older bike, obviously, maybe it produces a bit less power. Maybe the BMW guys have tweaked something between the different machines and so on and so forth. So it just gives that parity, doesn't it?
Yeah, guys, if you're seeing Josh Corner's name drop out by the side of the screen, it's not an issue. He's not crashed. His transponder's not working. That's all it is. So, but yeah, on screen here we've got James Ellison, the 77, battling with Jack Tynan. Jack Tynan's doing, you know, he's learning a lot this year. I feel like we're seeing some steady progression, and if he keeps that sort of trajectory of the progression, I think we should see him fighting soon for podiums, certainly in the heat races.
Yeah, qualified well to Jack Tynan. Middle of the second row of the grid ultimately is where he ended up. So the top 6 positions on the grid in the first heat, the first and second heats in F900R Cup, they're decided by a lottery essentially. So they'll go out, they'll do their qualifying times, and then they pick the names out of a hat, and that's how they decide where they line up. So Tynan in the middle of that second row. 2025 actually was his first season back in racing after nearly a decade away. Used some other championships at the club level to get a stepping stone onto the grid here in the F900R Cup, and has finished in 7th, 6th and 9th in the first 3 main event races so far this season. Yeah,
so, you know, feel like just getting a bit steadier. There was a couple of heat races he was a little bit faster as well, so I feel like that is slowly coming. And you know, these bikes are very different to ride, and I feel like they take a little bit of time to get used to. And you've got a very stacked field. Like, he's battling with James Ellison here now, who's a British Superbike race winner, you know. So, and you've got the likes of Nicky Coates, Superstock race winner. So very experienced guys in this field, and it's not an easy feat.
No, it's interesting to see, isn't it, how it sort of ebbs and flows in championships like this, as we see Jack Tynan coming under pressure and indeed being passed by Dale Thomas. Thomas getting the move done down the start-finish straight, moving his way up into 5th position as they head through in towards Drewers. Another fast slap coming through, meanwhile, for Bobby Berry. He's increased the margin up to just over 0.3 of a second. Coates there has got decent performance. He's only a couple of tenths of a second behind him in terms of lap time, but the gap now just increasing ever so slightly. So something to keep an eye on in the sort of latter stages of this race. Tynan retaliates there on Dale Thomas through to Surtees. Can he hold the line? That's the problem. You can send one through on the inside there, but it's so easy to just run it wide, and that's exactly what Tynan did. Yeah,
the problem with that, Tom, as well, is even if you can manage to stay ahead, even at this point here, by the end of the straight, you just lose too many kilometres an hour, and it just allows that person back up the inside. So if you are making a pass at Surtees, you really have to be certain that it's going to work, and you know, you're not too far, you're not too tight or too wide in the exit.
Kenny McLeod will be watching this with glee, rubbing his hands together and hoping that they continue to squabble as they are at the moment. McLeod there just in the background of your picture behind the 3 riders in front of him. Ellison, meanwhile, sitting there in 4th place. Great to see James Ellison racing at a national level once again. Very distinguished career he's had at both a national and an international level over the years, and competed in a few rounds last season, opening round of the final 2, and still managed to come away with 53 points and the best finish of 4th place overall, equaling his best finish this season subsequently as well, last time out at Snetterton with P4 in the main event race. So we'll see whether Ellison can bring the fight further forwards, but as we say, great to see him out and such like. That's the thing I love about this F900R Cup Championship, actually, Danny, as well, is you get riders that some of whom are quite experienced, some of whom are young up-and-comers. Maybe they've sort of come to the end of the ladder in whatever championship they're in, and they jump onto bikes like this, and it's great because you get a mixture of old and new and experience, and and youth.
You do, and you get some, some guys that race at club level that just want to go and mix it with the British Superbike paddock. We're in the bigger paddock, and it's funny because when you come to these tracks from club racing, the tracks are cleaner, the curbs are repainted, the paddock's bigger, there's more people about. So why not come and experience it in this championship? And we've just seen there, Nicky Coates done the fastest lap of the race, 1:34.162, which was 3/10 quicker than your race leader, to bring that gap down to pretty much nothing. It looks like on screen now, Tom, that Nicky's going to have a go any sort of second.
Yeah, he's thinking about it here, isn't he? He's closed the gap down to Bobby Berry, and you get a sense it's a case of when and not if, really, isn't it, here? The thing is, they're now starting to bridge, or build a gap, actually, to Josh Corner, aren't they, there in third place as well? So I don't know whether Corner's just not got the pace to live with these top two at the moment. No,
exactly. And, around here as well, Tom, it's quite common that you get a lot of guys that are really good in Sector 1, mediocre in Sector 2, really good in Sector 3, or, there's many swings and roundabouts in how people are. And for me, it looks like Bobby Berry is really good through that last sector, and Nicky Coates is probably better through the first sector. So where Nicky's going to be able to overtake is going to be quite a challenge. It looks like he might try and get up the inside into paddock.
He's always been good on the brakes, as Nicky Coates. Can't quite make it stick on Bobby at this moment, but again, you just sense that there's a sort of dress rehearsal coming through there at the moment, isn't there, really? Look at the gap the top three have got here as well to James Ellison in fourth place. About 5 seconds those riders have over the rest of the field. They're riding supremely quickly.
Yeah, they've just got a couple of temps. They're 3 temps quicker than Josh Corner the last lap, so I think that's just where Josh is losing out. James Ellison's 4 temps slower than the leaders, so James Ellison's got good pace, especially for a heat race podium, but I think the opening laps have ruined his chances of that.
And that's the problem, isn't it, when you get yourself in a battle that you're not necessarily in on merit, as it were. You've got more pace than you're able to show, but you end up at the wrong place at the wrong time. Down Pilgrim's Drop we go. Coates is having a look to the inside here of Bobby Berry. Very wise to that, just sweeps it around the outside, lets the break off, runs the corner speed through down at Hawthorns, and just stops any charge from Coates at the moment.
Yeah, and that's Bobby's strong point at the moment. He's able to brake that a little bit later, get off the brakes and keep that bike turning. And Nicky's getting a little bit, not frustrated, but he's getting the nose end up the inside of him, but just not enough to make that move. He needs to really get beside him, and if he wants to try and pass him.
Yeah, second in this championship back in 2024, third here last year as well. So he's always been a permanent fixture at the sharp end of the field, as Nicky Coates, and would love to give him a good opportunity to just be lining up a place further up on the grid, really, for the main event race and get some crucial points on the bag here as well. There's points in every race awarded to these riders as we come across the line to begin the final lap. Coates with his best opportunity yet to attack against Bobby Berry. Down into Paddock Hill we go. Berry again wise to that, sweeps around the outside, just lets off the brake, runs the corner speed through there, but he's a bit wide on the curve. That might cost him a bit of drive coming up into Druids. No, Coates can't find his way through.
It just lets that brake off, but keeps the bike turning. A lot of people, when they carry that speed, they let the brake off, they run wide. Bobby's really got that bike set up well. When he's releasing the brake, he's still able to turn, and that is really making it hard work for Nicky. So Nicky's really going to have to put a block pass on him if he wants to try and beat him.
Yeah, there's nowhere in particular I can see that Coates looks overly stronger compared to Bobby Berry. Everywhere that he seems to catch up, Berry has a response at the very next corner.
Yeah, let's watch this now, Tom. He's going to get in his slipstream. He doesn't look close enough to have a go here, so he seems to get up beside him, and Bobby's really good. Look at Bobby, brakes, gets off the brake, and there he just carries a bit better speed. But Nicky might be lining this up into the drop downhill, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of corners left to go, and you see that Bobby Berry now coming under increasing pressure here from Nicky Coates. Can he send one through on the inside into Dingledale, down into the Sheen curve, maybe? He's just been lining it up over the last couple of laps, and this is really sort of the last opportunity here for Coates to try and attack against Berry. Not close enough coming through into Stirling, so there'll have to be a Dandare up the inside at Clearways. We have seen moves being made there in the past. Think about when we saw Tommy Bridewell versus Kyle Ryde in the BSB finale a couple of years ago, and we get a move to the inside for Coates, but again, Berry sweeps it around the outside, holds momentum, holds corner speed, and crucially, holds the line and gets really strong drive out of the final corner. They come to the checkered flag. Coates in the slipstream against Bobby Berry, but Berry takes the win in Heat 1 here at Brands Hatch from Nicky Coates. Josh Corner will come over the line in third position there as well, and behind it's very close indeed with James Ellison in fourth place ahead of Dale Thomas, Kenny McLeod and Jack Tynan. About 8,000ths of a second separating McLeod and Thomas, and about 6,000 separating Ellison and Thomas as well.
How close do you want it? I'd have just closed my eyes and kept the gas on.